Welcome to today's class. Today I'll be talking about plant maintenance. Remember, every organization that exists in every industry must have machines that operate in that organization. Sometimes it's always important for the organization to be able to maintain these machines. This is because when the machines are in good conditions, at the end of the day you realize there is maximization of the capacity of those machines. So you realize that the organization is able to achieve more when the machines are in good condition. So today I'm going to focus more on plant maintenance. So plant maintenance is very key, as we all know, and one of the objectives of plant maintenance is to achieve the minimum breakdowns and to keep the plant in good working condition at the lowest possible cost. So you realize when your machines are in good condition, you are able to minimize the breakdowns. And breakdown is the instances that the machines are not working. And this, at the end of the day, you realize it is going to affect even the cost by lowering the possible cost within the organization. The other thing about machine or plant maintenance is that it facilitates and permits good conditions of the materials, and this leads to optimum profits in the organization. Therefore, it means that at the end of the day, there are no interruptions or hindrance when it comes to production. So maintenance also allows the organization to be able to ensure that the machines are always available when they are required by the organization, and they are always performing what they need to perform at the end of the day. The other thing that we are going to talk about today are the importance of plant maintenance. Remember, if you don't do your plant maintenance well, then at the end of the day, you'll be failing as an organization. So plant maintenance plays a prominent role in production management. This is because when plants break down, sometimes they create problems, and these problems can include the loss in production time. So remember, that time that you are producing is lost because your machine is not able to work effectively. The other thing about breaking down is that it creates what is called scheduling of production. So you realize at the end of the day you'll be able to reschedule a production every now and then because your machine has broken down. It also might lead to spoilage of materials. For example, if you are doing you are baking bread and all of a sudden the oven breaks down, then it means at the end of the day your bread is going to be spoiled, and this might lead to losses in your organization. The other thing is that when your machine breaks down, sometimes we have failure to recover overheads, and these overheads can include loss of production hours, and at the end of the day it means at the end of the day you will have to pay people overtime, and this is an extra cost to the organization. The other thing is that you also need to subcontract work from another company. So you realize when your machine breaks down, you also need to have somebody who is on standby, somebody who is going to repair your machine for you. And at the end of the day, you'll be losing as an organization. Or you might be forced to subcontract from another company that does the same business so that they can finish the work for you using their machines. The other thing is that we have temporary shortages, therefore work requires alternative work. So at the end of the day, you must have an alternative work to do, and this might be very expensive for your organization. So the other thing that I'm going to cover today is types of plant maintenance. Remember, we have various types of plant maintenance. The first one is corrective or breakdown maintenance. So corrective maintenance implies that repairs are made after the equipment is out of order and it cannot perform its normal functions. So breakdown maintenance always waits for the machine to break down so that they can do their normal maintenance, and this basically is a very dangerous strategy for any organization. Under this condition, therefore, production department calls on the maintenance department to rectify the defects when the defect happens, and this can have a very adverse effect to the organization. The other type of maintenance is called the scheduled maintenance. Scheduled maintenance is a stitch-in-time procedure which is aimed at avoiding maintenance. So breaking down sometimes is dangerous to the life as far as possible and therefore should be minimized. So scheduled maintenance is a practice that incorporates the inspection, lubrication, repair and overhaul of certain equipment, which if neglected, then it means at the end of the day the machines are going to break down. So scheduled maintenance is a practice that is generally followed for overhauling of machines, cleaning of water and water tanks. So you realize, as you all know, scheduling maintenance is a stitch-in-time procedure. So you are doing that so that you can, at the end of the day, prevent something that is about to happen. The other type of maintenance is called preventive maintenance, and this is a system where we have planned or preventive maintenance, and the main focus of this type of maintenance is to minimize problems of breakdown maintenance. It is also a stitch-in-time procedure which locates the weak spots such as the bearing surfaces, parts under excessive vibration. So you realize preventive maintenance is always done maybe before you start working on the machine, so that you can avoid issues to do with breaking down. In all equipments, it provides regular inspections and minor repairs, thereby reducing the dangers of anticipated breakdown. So that's why sometimes when you have a vehicle, for example, it is always important for you to be able to check before you leave the house, so that at the end of the day it is not going to mess you on the road. So preventive maintenance involves a periodic inspection of equipment and machines to uncover conditions that lead to production breakdown and harmful depreciation. It also upkeeps the plant equipment to correct such conditions while they are still at the minor stages. So what is the objective of preventive maintenance? The first objective is to minimize the possible anticipated production interruption. So one of the focus of preventive maintenance is to be able to reduce anticipated production interruption. So remember, when you interrupt your production at the end of the day, then that means you are going to have losses for your organization. The other important thing is that plant maintenance enables the plant equipment and machine to be always ready and available for use. So when you are doing your maintenance, you'll always find your machine whenever you require to do your production. It also helps to maintain the value of the equipment and the machines by periodic inspection. So you're able to maintain the value of your machine. For example, you'll be able to maintain the value of your car if you do what is called preventive maintenance every time. It will also allow you to be able to maintain operational accuracy of the plant equipment. So you'll be able to maintain your production accurately, and no interruptions will be present in your organization. You'll be able also to work the content of maintenance job. So you'll be able to prepare when you require the production to be done. You will also be able to achieve maximum production at minimum repair cost. So your cost will be reduced maximally. And the other objective is that you'll be able to have safety of life and limbs of your workmen. So when you are doing preventive maintenance, remember you are putting the life of your employees safer, so that when no accident is going to happen in your organization. So what are some of the advantages? Advantages can also be same as the objectives, but let's talk about them. We have reduced breakdown and connected downtime. We have lesser odd time repairs and reduced overtime. Greater safety for workers. Remember, your workers are one of the human resource that must be taken into consideration. If you don't take your workers into consideration, then at the end of the day there will be high employee turnover, and this can affect your your operations. The other thing is fewer large-scale and repetitive repairs will be reduced. We have low maintenance and repair costs, less standby or reserve equipment and spare parts. Identification of equipment requiring high maintenance costs will be reduced. Then we have lower unit cost of manufacture. We have better production quality and fewer production rejects, and increased equipment life. So your equipment is going to serve you better. The other type of maintenance is called predictive maintenance. It is comparatively a newer maintenance technique and makes use of human sense or other sensitive instruments. For example, audio gauges, vibration analyzers, and one of those machines is to be able to predict trouble before the equipment fails. So basically you are putting detectors in your machine so that in the event you hear, for example, a sound, you'll be able to know where the problem is on the machine. The other thing is that in predictive maintenance, equipment conditions are measured periodically or on continuous basis to enable maintenance men to take a timely action such as equipment adjustment. And this is one of the best strategies that an organization can use. You can be able to use sensitive instruments to be able to predict. So scheduling of plant maintenance. So it is always important for the organization to schedule when they are going to do their plant maintenance. So scheduling is all about arranging or outlining when you are going to do your maintenance. And this requires one to know how long a job will take and when it should be done, and if resources are required to do that maintenance. Scheduling basically means you are determining the calendar by inspecting the various dates that you will be able to fulfill your frequency requirements in the most efficient way. So scheduling system should be clear, precise, and easy to operate. So when you're coming up with a system, ensure that system of scheduling is clear and precise and easy to operate, so that when another person comes to check the schedule, he or she is able to understand what is required of him or her. The other thing is that it should be based upon accuracy and determine the time standards. So you'll be able to determine when you require the maintenance and when should the maintenance be done. Is it going to be done every day or after every week or after every month, depending on the organization policy about maintenance. The other thing is that it should be able to finalize in consultation with production department. Remember, when you are doing your system scheduling, it is always important to liaise with the production department, because the production are the people who are involved in ensuring that the machines are working, and that the people also who interact with the machine every time. The other thing is that there should be aim of creating a balance of workload on each trade section in the department. So when you are creating your schedule, that schedule should always be flexible. You must also be able to consider the workload of every machine. Therefore, you must create a balance in the workload. So what are some of the typical causes of equipment breakdown? Number one is that we have failure to replace worn out parts. So if you don't replace your worn out parts, then at the end of the day, the machine is going to break down. The other important cause is lack of lubrication. Lubrication is when you put, let's say, grease on your machines. If you don't do that, then at the end of the day, your machine might break down. When also you neglect the cooling system. Remember, every machine has a cooling system, be it a laptop, be it a fridge, be it a freezer. It must have a cooling system. Therefore, it must be important for you to be able to check the cooling system now every time, so that you avoid issues to do with breakdown. The other thing is that indifference towards minor faults. So if you don't take minor faults seriously, These minor faults will grow to become major faults, and this might lead to breaking down of your machines. We also have external factors like too much power or wrong fuel. If you put wrong fuel in your machine, it might lead to breaking down. The other thing is that if you have unusual machine or indifferent towards equipment, vibration and sounds that are coming out of the rotating machines, if you don't treat them seriously, then at the end of the day you are going to have breakdown of your machine. The other important thing that we are going to talk about is the disadvantages of breaking down maintenance. One of the disadvantages is that breakdown generally occurs at the inopportunity times when you didn't expect that something is going to happen, and that is the time that breaking down takes place, and this might lead to excessive delays in production. The other thing is that it leads to reduction of outputs. So if you are producing, let's say, 100 bags of maize every day, maize flour every day, then this will lead to a reduction of the same. Therefore the output will be reduced maybe to 50 bags or even to 10 bags. The other one is we have faster plant deterioration. Realize that your machine is going to reduce in value, and at the end of the day it will not be effective for your organization. You also have increased chances of accidents and less safety to both the workers and the machine. So we have high chances of accidents when you don't maintain your machines or when your machine breaks down, and this can even lead to death of your employees or injury. You also have more spoiled materials and direct loss of profits. So what are some of the factors that you need to consider when planning for maintenance and repair? One of the factors is cost analysis. You must consider the cost of the repairs. If the cost is too expensive, then it means the best decision that the organization can decide is to buy a new machine. If the cost of maintenance is high, then the organization can decide to maintain or to buy a new machine, or also to outsource from various subcontractors. The other thing is to consider the age of the equipment. So when you're doing your planning of maintenance, you also need to consider the age. If the machine is too old or it has served you for more years, then it's always important for you to decide to buy a new machine. This is because the machine has already served its life expectancy. The other thing that you need to consider is the cost of repairs. If the cost of repairs are too high, then it means at the end of the day you just require to buy a new machine, or you can decide to do your repairs before something bad happens to your machine. You also need to consider the downtime. Downtime is the time when the machines are not working, immediately after breaking down. That period before you make the machines and the machines start working, that is what you are referring to as downtime. So you need also to consider the downtime. So it should not be too high. You also need to consider the safety of your employees and the safety of your machines. So you must always do better planning so that you don't have issues to do with accidents. You also need to consider efficiency of your machines. Are your machines operating well? So those are some of the issues you need to consider. So you realize that plant maintenance is very key in any organization. This is because if your machine breaks down and your customer require those materials, then it means your customers are not going to be satisfied. And if your customers are not satisfied, remember they are going to the next competitor, and you might end up losing your customer and also losing your employees, because you will not have the money to service your machines and also to service your manpower. Thank you for listening. Let's meet next time. Thank you.